Oh well. Anyway, so I'm on this live. Just wanted to jump on here and do a Q&A about confidence, self-esteem when it comes to dating, what you're dealing with, and what do you actually need help with. So let me know. I'll be on here for maybe about 20, 30 minutes. And any questions you got, just make sure you ask. Let's see. This could be good. What? Dating challenges you dating challenges. Yeah. You facing. All right, that should be good. Oh, shit. Fuck. I guess that's how that works. All right, so I'm going to be talking about dating challenges that you may be facing, whether it's approaching, rejection, breakup, or anything else. Maybe you have low self esteem, low self confidence, whatever it is, we're going to talk about that because the thing that is very important to you young men out there is that you want to make sure that you nip everything in the bud early. You want to make sure that when you get into a relationship that you're not blindsided. Because a lot of men, what they do, a lot of men I work with that are in relationships, they're married, the thing that they do is they get into a relationship and they rush into a relationship. They didn't see the red flags in the beginning. They didn't understand what respect meant to them. And so when they get into these relationships, they're questioning themselves about, why is she disrespecting me? Why is she yelling at me? Why is she doing this and that? Why is this relationship so difficult? And it's difficult because you didn't learn the things that you need to learn when you were younger. You didn't learn the things that you needed to learn when you first started dating. And so you wasn't prepared. So when you're not prepared for a relationship is going to be challenging. That's why you hear people say, oh, don't get into a relationship, don't get married, women are this, women are that. It's not because women are this and that. It's because you were not prepared for a relationship. When you're single life is different from married life. Dating life is different from engagement. Engagement is different from marriage. Marriage is different from divorce and breakup. And that's the thing that I want to talk to you about is because if you're not prepared for a relationship, it doesn't matter what type of advice you get. It doesn't matter what books you read. If you're not right with yourself and you don't understand relationships, it doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be issues and problems later on. And the reason why I mention that is because it's all about being prepared. It's all about being prepared. My thing is I'm talking to men that they actually want to be in a relationship. You know, I'm all fine for you dating and having fun and all that stuff, but you really want to be in a relationship later on. You just don't want to get into a relationship, end up like guys you hear about that are frustrated. Maybe they made mistakes. And now they say, you know, women are bad and women are this and that. No, it's not that. It's about you having leadership. When you know yourself, right? And you have leadership and you have self respect, the woman sees you as the man that knows what he's about. He knows his worth. So I'm either going to step up to the plate or I'm just going to leave. And if the woman doesn't know your value and you don't know your value, who's going to take the lead? That's what you guys keep forgetting is it's all about you. Let me see. Give me 1 second. What's up, Ramirez? Ramez. I pronounced it wrong. What's up, man? But yeah, it's all about you being a leader and it's all about you being prepared because society tells you that you need to rush into a relationship. Usually it's women, usually it's feminized shows that see things through a feminized lens and they tell you that, hey, if you love her, you need to hurry up and get into a relationship. You need to buy her this ring. You need to hurry up and marry her. But that's coming from a female perspective. Whenever there's a benefit to the woman, it's always going to make you feel that you're less than. It's going to make you feel that you're not keeping up with speed. Like you need to know this, you need to know that. You need to hurry up and get into a relationship. You need to buy her this for Christmas and Valentine's Day. But the funny thing is, a lot of guys that are in relationships right now, they have issues with that because the woman will treat them like shit throughout the year. But when it comes time for her birthday, when it's Christmas, when it's Valentine's Day, guess what? Hey, babe, everything's all good. Let's spend time together. You're the perfect person. I really love you. And what they don't realize is that she's playing them the whole time. But it all starts from the beginning. And what do I mean by that? Because you may be thinking like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. And I'll use an example for this so it makes sense to you. When you first start dating, right? Ask yourself, did you buy her flowers? Did you buy her chocolates? What did you do when the first date that you picked her up and you went to dinner, whatever you did, what did you do? Did you buy her something? Did you go to an extravagant restaurant? What did you do? That's where it all starts. A lot of men don't understand it, but that's where it starts. It starts by how you first started, when she first saw you, when she first got into the relationship with you, when you first started dating. It all starts from the beginning. And what a lot of guys do is they try to impress the woman with gifts. They try to impress her with a car, where they live, money. They try to impress her with all these things that don't fucking matter. If you strip all that away, who are you when all that's gone? So when you start the relationship that way, she's always going to be thinking that this is what I'm always used to. I'm always used to him buying stuff. I'm always used to him doing this, and that. And when you can't deliver, when you get into a relationship, then it all falls apart. And you end up blaming the woman like, oh, she's a gold digger. She's this, and that. But no, you attracted that type of woman to you based on how you react and how you were behaving. The things that you showed her, the attributes, all the things that were superficial, she thought that was a real you, but you can't keep up with that. You can't keep up with that, especially if that's not really you. The other thing is how you respond. How many of you, when you got into your first little argument, how many of you said sorry? How many of you said sorry? She got upset. She got frustrated. Maybe she said, don't call me no more. She slammed the door in your face. She hung up on you, whatever. And you text her sorry. You call her. You leave a voicemail. Maybe you go to her house. Maybe you go to her job. Maybe you do some weird shit like that. But you apologize for something that you may not even did. You're apologizing for her responding in a way that made you feel uncomfortable. You're apologizing for her just being herself, being a woman, because women are emotional. But the point I'm trying to make is when you start the relationship from a weak foundation, when you first start dating, right? When you started from a weak foundation, guess what's going to happen? It's never going to get stronger. It's going to get weaker and weaker. And that's when a lot of guys, they feel like they have so much pressure and frustration. It's because they started the relationship from a weak foundation. That's just what it is. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I'm not going to go too much in detail about it, but I will say that when I was dating, women knew that I was dating other women. I'm going to say that again. When I was dating, women knew that I was dating other women. And the reason why I did that is because, one, I wasn't ready to settle down with just one woman. And two, that's who the fuck I am. That's what I do. I see other women, I date other women. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm sleeping with every woman. However, I'm dating other women. And if you see me with another woman, or you hear about me with another woman, you're not caught off guard because I already told you. Now, the other thing is I did that because I wanted to make sure that I watched myself. And what I mean by that is when you're dating, a lot of you guys, you're dating with different women, you're sleeping with different women, whatever, right? But you tell the woman that you're with that you're just with her. And so in her mind, she's thinking that you're just with her. So since you're just with her, there's no other woman. So she's emotionally attached to you now because she thinks that it's just her. That's what women want. Women want you to be attached to just them. So when you start a relationship and you lie and you say, hey, you're just the only woman, but you know you're dating other women, you know you're sleeping with other women, what happens is she gets emotionally attached to you. She gets emotionally attached to you. She thinks you're the only one. And then when she finds out that you're cheating because you didn't let her know that you're seeing other women, then chaos breaks loose. That's the reason why you have some women that get vindictive and they say, hey, we'll work through it. Even though it's nothing serious, they'll say, hey, we'll work through it. But in the back of her mind, she said, when I first met this guy, he lied to me. He told me he wasn't with any other woman. He told me he wasn't dating anybody. I was the only one. But you know what? I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to get into a relationship with him. Screw it. I'm going to rush him into marriage. I'm going to rush him into marriage. We got the ring. We're engaged. Now we're married. You know what? I'm going to have a kid. And then she ends up having a kid. And guess what? 10 years later, alimony, child support. And I'm not saying all women are like that. What I'm saying is women respond to your behavior. Women respond to how you are as a man. If you're not being a man and you're being a male, or you're being a little boy or a boy that's grown, she responds to that differently. And you have men out here teaching you guys that women are bad. Women are the problem. And you do have some women that are bad, they're negative, just like guys. Some guys are bad and negative, but it's all about how you train them. And yes, I did say train them, because if you're in corporate and you go to corporate training, it's training to help you get better at what you're doing. So don't get offended by me using the word training. Don't get all twisted in the semantics. But what I'm saying is you have to train a woman how to treat you. And what I mean by that is if you're lying to her, you're training her that this guy's a liar. I can't trust him. I don't feel safe around him. And if she can't trust you and she doesn't feel safe around you, she's in survival mode. And when she's in survival mode, what does that mean? That means she's trying to survive. So it doesn't matter if she hurts your feelings. It doesn't matter if she hurts your financial status. It doesn't matter at all, because you lied to her from the beginning. Now, another thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to anything that you do with a woman, your words have to match up with your actions. Your words have to match up with your actions, meaning if you say you're going to do something, your actions need to be very close to that. It needs to be very close to that. And the reason why I say that you have to be consistent with what you say you're going to do and actually doing it is because, hear me out. If you're not consistent on what you say you're going to do, and she sees that over time, let's say, for instance, that things are rocky, things are going bad, you're in a relationship, and she does something, she cheats on you, right? but you're so used to telling her one thing and doing something totally different, she's not going to really think that you're going to leave the relationship. She doesn't think that you're going to break up with her because you're not consistent in the small things. So when it comes to something big like that, where she cheats on you or does you wrong, she's thinking that, well, I cheated on this guy because I know he's not going anywhere. He says he's going to do one thing, but he doesn't do it. So I'm going to get away with that. All I got to do is give him a little bit of sex. All I got to do is apologize because I hardly ever apologize. He's the one always apologizing to me. So that's all I got to do. And he'll stay around. And you stay around because you have low self-esteem and low self-confidence. You put the woman on the pedestal. You put the sex on the pedestal, her beauty, her looks. When all those things fade over time, which you don't realize, and when you do that, she'll always be in control. And you don't know how to lead. If you don't know how to lead a woman, she's always going to be leading you. Somebody has to lead. Somebody has to lead. And I personally believe, and my wife would agree with me on this, is that a relationship is not a partnership. A relationship is not a partnership. When you hear women say, I'm looking for the perfect partner, they may think that they're saying they're looking for a man and stuff like that. But here, let me tell you this. As a man, you have to lead. It's just like a dance. If you dance tango, if you dance bachata or salsa, merengue, if you can't lead, you're going to look like shit on the dance floor. She's going to be frustrated and she's going to have to take the lead. And then sooner or later, well, I got to keep taking the lead. I'm just done with this guy. That's how it ends up. I'm telling you. I'm gonna give you guys a story real quick. You know, I think it's kind of funny, and maybe you can relate to this. But when I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, because I was in the Marine Corps, right? I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and the funny thing is, I went to this salsa club. It's called Salsa Tinas. If you're in the military, you're in the Marine Corps, and you've been stationed in Okinawa, Japan, you know what I'm talking about. So I was in this club, Salsa Tinas, and they attract a lot of Spanish women. You got Puerto Ricans, Dominican, Mexicans, all that. And you still got Asians because it's in Asia. But anyway, I was young. I was super young. I didn't really know how to dance or anything like that. So I seen this beautiful looking Puerto Rican chick. I go up to her. She's smiling. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's dance. You know, I've always had game. I always had a gift of gab. I never was afraid. No shit like that. So I go up to her. We start dancing. And I didn't know how to dance. So I couldn't lead in that situation. I did not know how to dance. And guess what happened? She told me, she was like, hey, I see you don't know how to dance. So how about you learn how to dance and then we'll dance later on. Yeah, I got rejected, right? But the thing is, I didn't get butthurt about it. What I took from that is like, okay, I don't know how to dance. She's right. Some guys, when you get a criticism from a woman, you take it as she's disrespecting you or she's taking jabs at you. But that wasn't the case. And I learned how to dance. Bachata, salsa, all that stuff, merengue, got really good at it. And it ended up being really good in the future when I started to dance with other women. So I'll just keep it at that. But the point I'm trying to make is I didn't know how to dance in that situation. Yeah, we were a partner dancing, you know, partner quote unquote, but who was supposed to take the lead? Me. I didn't take the lead. I didn't know how. And so what happened? We couldn't continue to dance. And what happens in relationships is you let women tell you that it's a partnership. You let women tell you that, you know, she's the one that's in charge and it's my way or the highway, happy wife, happy life, which is bullshit. And what happens is you try to continue the dance, meaning you try to continue the relationship. You try to continue the marriage, but you fail because you're not taking the lead. You're not leading her throughout the relationship. You don't know how to do that. And so all of my content is based around preparing you to avoid the mistakes and the frustration that men get into when they get into those real relationships, when they become married. They were never prepared, and that's the reason why that they tell you to avoid marriage, to avoid relationships, because there's ways around different things, guys. You have prenuptial agreements, you have postnuptial agreements. I'm not saying that you have to get married, but what I'm saying is instead of blaming the woman and pointing your finger at the woman and she's bad and this and this and that, it's not the woman. It's not. As a leader, it's your job to lead your woman in the direction that you want the relationship to go. And if you can't do that, that's fine, but don't be the little bitch that's complaining about women and saying that women are mean, women are this and that. Women have always been the same. It's just men became weaker and that allowed them to do certain things that a lot of men today deem as women are this and that. They're bad. I'm telling you, it's you. Women feed off of your behavior. They feed off of your energy. They feed off of how you act, how you respond. Excuse me. How you act, how you respond. But you're not taught that. You're taught that happy wife, happy life. You have to put on a pedestal. Pussy, sex, that's the main thing. That's the highlight. The looks, that's the highlight. But I'm here to tell you that has nothing to do with manhood, nothing to do with you. Like, pussy is I'm gonna tell you like a wise man told me. It's like the size of this, right? Yeah, it stretches out depending on how big your dick is or small it is, whatever. But realistically, a lot of you guys are getting into relationships and you're dating because of just the sex, because of just her looks. And she will use that against you. She will use that against you. I'm just telling you that. See, it's Hasi. Bro, where are you from? I am from Pakistan. Oh man, what's up, man? No, I'm from over here in the United States, man. That's where I'm from. Appreciate you joining. Hi to Lee Tabler. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? But yeah, so enough of my soapbox. Just wanted to let you know it's all about you preparing yourself now, seeing the red flags, seeing the behaviors and things that you don't know about, that men don't talk about, that you actually need to know so you can better prepare yourself for when you get into a relationship. That's what it's all about. Because a lot of guys that I work with that are older, they always say like, hey, I wish I would have known this when I was younger. I wish I would have known that. My father didn't tell that to me. I didn't see it that way. My mother told me this. My mother raised me. And when you have all of that growing up and you see things that are not what they actually are, it messes you up later on because you don't know what to believe. You don't know if you should believe a person, excuse me, you don't know if you should believe a person is super extreme where we hate women, women are the problem. And you don't know if you should lean into like, women are so beautiful, they're gorgeous, we're gonna put them on a pedestal, they're the best thing ever. And so me, I'm like, there's always middle ground. There's always middle ground to prepare you so when you do get into a relationship, you don't have to worry about all the bullshit. You'll know about the red flags, you'll know about the dark side of women, you'll know about the good, the bad, everything about women, you'll know about them. And so when you do get in those relationships, you're not clueless. You're not clueless. And the analogy and what I was going to share with you is, I mean, you see, I was in the Marine Corps. So one thing that the Marine Corps made sure that we was prepared. You had basic training, and then you had advanced training, and then you had training if you're going to get deployed, right? So when you are prepared, you're not in fear of what's going to happen. Or when you get into that situation, you know how to handle yourself because it's muscle memory. You already prepared. You already prepared for it. And that's what you're missing. If you're watching this channel and you're in a relationship, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe that situation you're in with your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance, things come up and you're like, man, I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't see this coming. That's why, because you weren't prepared. And my guys that are watching this that are dating, maybe there's a situation where there was a little argument and you see how her behavior changed and shift and how she's treating you and talking to you. I'm telling you, if you don't understand, you don't prepare now, and you don't understand the reasons why, when you get into a relationship later on, it's just going to get worse. Only because you didn't prepare. And it doesn't matter, because I get a lot of guys say this too. If I work on myself, or if I learn this, and if I learn that, then why would I do all that if the relationship is going to be over? Why would I do all that if she's going to leave me or this and that? But the thing is, you're not doing it for the woman, you're doing it for yourself. And this is what I mean. You should be good to where it doesn't matter what woman you get with, you're always going to be you. And so it doesn't matter what woman you're going to get with. It makes sense? Like you're good with yourself. And you should be that way. A different woman shouldn't shift your perspective about yourself. So if you date an Asian woman, right? And you're one way with her. Yes, women are different, in different ways. What I'm trying to say is you shouldn't shift who you are to the core as a man because you got this woman or you got that woman. You should be good with yourself to where it doesn't matter what woman is thrown at you. You're still able to be yourself. You're still able to get respect. You're still able to get those things out of a relationship that you want. It doesn't matter about the woman, because if women were the problem, then what about the guys that get respect? Why do those guys get respect? Is it because the woman just naturally respects them? Or is it because of the man's behavior from point A to B that always attracted those type of women that would respect them? Which one is it? So when I hear guys say that it's always the woman's fault, it's the woman's problem. No, it's leadership. It's leadership in the Marine Corps. If a junior Marine fucked up, it's on me because I needed to teach him and train him and show him the ways of becoming a Marine at the next level, at the highest level. And if I failed that job, then I failed him. I'm not going to blame him. Sergeant Major or the CO is going to be like, hey, it's your fault. It's your fault, blah, 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 this and that. It's like, no, it's going to come to me. Hey, it's Sergeant Palmer's fault. What the fuck's up with your Marine? You see what I'm saying? So take leadership, take ownership, have pride in that. Where is the pride of you being a leader as a man and knowing that you can lead a woman successfully, lead a relationship successfully, have peace of mind, have respect? Do you know what it feels like to be respected in a relationship? To have your woman eager to do this and that, to rub your feet, to take care of you, to say, hey, I know you're going on a live later on. Let me give you this so you look good on camera. I know you're going on live later on. Let me put aside some water for you so you can drink it, even though I haven't really been drinking it yet. But it's amazing. But it all starts with being honest in the beginning, knowing what leadership's about as a man, and preparing yourself for those relationships. So enough of me yapping. Let's see what we got. We got 67% says approaching, 17% says rejection, and 17% says other. So I'm assuming that approaching is a big one for you. I feel shy approaching girls. Okay, Deep the Poke _man. How old are you? I'm just curious. How old are you? Unless you already got off. Let me know what you need, man. I'm on here for a limited time. This is free. Let me know what you need. Approaching is a big one. So what exactly, when you say you feel shy, like what does that mean? Like when you're facing the challenge of approaching a woman, what does that mean? Like, I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious on what that means. If you just came on here, what I'm doing is just a Q&A, asking men what dating challenges they're facing. So if you're facing a challenge, whether it's approaching, rejection, breakup, or other, let me know. I'll just start with with approach. The thing is, man, with approaching, when you're shy, that's a lie. So if a guy says, "Hey, I'm shy," that's a lie. Let me explain what I mean by that. If I told you, "Hey, can you explain to me what your hobbies and passions are?" Would you be able to do it, or would you be shy? Would you be like, I don't want to explain my hobbies and passions to this Marine guy, this man that's on camera? Probably not, because you're going to think about that passion as something that overrides your fear or your shyness or whatever else. And you're going to explain it to me. You're going to be so detailed about it. You're going to talk to me about it in ways that I learned something from it, because you're not afraid of that. You're not shy because of that. And when it comes to approaching women, the reason why you say you're shy is because you just don't have the knowledge of your value. You don't have the knowledge of what you're going to say. But don't call it shy. Just say, "Hey," and I'm not minimizing what you're saying. I get it. If you're shy, you're shy. You say that, but I'm telling you that it's shy is being a lie, because any other situation you wouldn't be shy, right? But the reason why I say that is because it's all about knowing who you are, and it's about not putting the woman on a pedestal. The only reason why you say you're shy is because you tell yourself you don't know what you're going to talk about. You don't know if she's going to reject you. You don't know if she's going to like you or not. And you're putting all these emphasis on the woman where it should be on you. And I tell guys this all the time. You're the opportunity. And what I mean by that is you have so much to offer. You just let society talk you into not knowing what you have to offer, to make you feel that you're less than, because all the things that you see on social media, they say men are stupid, even though this phone, a lot of things that men have built, which is, you got to be have a little bit of intelligence to do that. But you let women, maybe in your family, maybe women that are friends, maybe, like I said, social media, you let women talk you into thinking that you're not good enough. And when you're not good enough, of course you're going to be shy. Of course you're going to be afraid to approach a woman, because you don't know your value and your worth. But let me tell you this, if you knew your value and your worth and what you had to offer, and it wasn't based off of the material items that you had, it wasn't based off your money, it was just strictly based off of you and who you are to the core, you would not be shy to approach women. I'm telling you. And a good example to think of this is Apple, right? Apple is a major company, a major company. And do you think Apple feels like, I don't want to do this interview with this potential employee because I'm shy? Like, no, Apple's like, "Hey, we know our business front and back. We know our value, we know our worth. So what do you have to offer? Why should we hire you for our company?" That's their mentality, and that's the mentality that you should have as a man. Because remember earlier I said men lead. So if you're already shy approaching a woman, that means that you can't lead. You might want to work on leadership first. Maybe your self-confidence, maybe your self-esteem, because all those things will show up later on in your relationship. And that's what I'm talking about, being prepared. So if you're shy now, she's going to sense that. She's going to know that. She's going to interpret it. I'm not calling you weak, but she may interpret that as, this guy's weak. He's shy. He's not sure of himself. And, I guess I'll just have some fun with him. And some of my guys out there that's been dating, and they kind of know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. But stop feeling shy. And the best way to stop feeling shy is to know who you are, to know your value, to know your worth. Because when you know who you are, you know your value, you know your worth, what is there to be shy about? Women should be shy of you coming up to them. They should be shy talking to you. They should be shy you approaching them. It's the opposite. I'm telling you, when I was younger and I was dating, there was no fucking shyness. There wasn't. Because I knew my value and worth. I When you know your value and worth, man, it has nothing to do with materials. It has nothing to do with money. It's just knowing what it means to be a man. And it's very valuable, because now that I have a son, my bloodline will continue. My lineage will continue. I can do that. A woman can't do that. A woman takes the last name. A woman goes after the ring. She goes after marriage. It's a lot of things that you guys just don't know, but women have taught you to see these things as it's just supposed to happen. Like, you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to do this and that, and you're supposed to get the guy's last name. And the biggest disrespect, I think, is when women hyphenate their last names when they get married. That's just my opinion. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you know your value, you don't fear that. You don't have the shyness of rejection. You don't fathom that. You don't fathom that because you're the opportunity. You have a lot to offer. But what you need to start doing, if being shy is your biggest thing, what you need to start doing, and hear me out, you need to just start not necessarily approaching women, but just get used to seeing a woman smiling and just say hi. You go to the store, you go to the gym, wherever you're at, just say hi and just, hey, how you doing? That's it. How are you doing? Have a nice day. When you go to a restaurant, I'm pretty sure when you go to fast food restaurants or you go to a regular restaurant, I'm pretty sure you're not shy about ordering something off the menu. If she looks attractive, you're still going to make the order. I mean, you can't tell me that you can't tell me that you go to a restaurant, you see an attractive woman, you're looking at the menu, you know what you want to eat, but you're like, oh man, I'm shy. I don't know if I should order this. No, you order your fucking food. So why can't you do the same thing when you approach a woman? You know why? Because you don't know what you want. So anyway, going back to what I was saying is, if you're shy when you're approaching women, just start approaching them and saying hello. That's it, simple. Because you're going to start to get used to interacting with women, because what a lot of guys do is they get on social media, they just look at the women online, maybe they chat, maybe they look at pornos, but when they see a woman in person, they're shy, they're afraid because they're not used to even interacting with a woman in person. And that's a detriment. That's a huge detriment. And you have to start interacting with women. Just keep it simple. Just say hi. Every day, just say hi. Whether you're at school, whether you're at work, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out conversation. You don't even have to ask, how's your day going? What are you doing this weekend? Which you don't really care about anyway. Just start saying hello. That's it. Smile and say hello. It's very simple. And you're like, that's too simple. Sometimes the simple things are what really matters. Mastering the simple things is what makes you a master at things in the future. So that's what you need to start doing, is just start saying hi, say hello. Now, the other thing is you got to understand, why are you approaching the women in the first place? Because you say you feel shy when you're approaching girls, but I like to say women because this is a man's channel. What is your reasoning for approaching a woman in the first place? Do you even know why? Do you just think like, oh, I just want to get women, I'm gonna just walk up and just approach a woman and that's it? Or do you know, I want to approach her because I want to give her the opportunity to get to know me and we can see if this will turn into a relationship? Is that what goes through your mind? If that doesn't go through your mind, then what is it? You got to really understand, what exactly do you want in a woman, why you're approaching her. Because once you understand why you're approaching a woman and you understand what you want in a woman, it's going to be a lot easier for you to approach her because you know what you want in a woman and you know why you're approaching her, if that makes sense. But approach is like, man, you should never fear approach. You shouldn't be shy. Hell, hey, getting on a live. I'm shy about getting on a live, guys. I'm shy. I'm afraid. No, I'm not. You know why? Because I know my value, but I also know what I have to offer you guys. So the thought of making sure that I take care of you guys and help you better prepare for a relationship overrides the thought of showing up, being perfect, messing up my words, saying something stupid, all this other stuff, because that's my why. My why for approaching you guys on here is to make sure that I share the information that's going to help you avoid the mistakes and the frustrations later on. That's my why. I know my why, but I also know the value that I have to offer. So it's hard for me to really to be shy or scared or nervous about creating a life. So when you approach a woman, you have to have that same mentality. You have to know why you're doing it, and you have to know what value you bring. Very simple. And it's kind of like the same with rejection. Rejection, man. Oh, man. Rejection. Rejection is not real. Rejection is not real. It's just like Thomas Edison, I believe. He said he figured out 100 ways or 1,000 ways that the light bulb does not work. He didn't say it was failure, it was rejection. So is it that you fear rejection, or is it that you get rejection and you don't like it? But really, it's just you learning different ways that approaching a woman doesn't work. Could it be that? I'm just curious. It could be that. You just have to shift how you look at how you think about it, because if you say, hey, these women keep rejecting me, then you're telling your subconscious mind that that is what women do, is reject you, and it leads into the fear of rejection. You get it? But you have to shift your mindset and think, hey, she says she wasn't interested in me. That's her loss. Let me move on to the next one. It's very simple. You have to shift how you think about it. And the other thing I will say about that is it's just experience. It's just experience. But here's the funny thing, man. Here's the funny thing. Let's say, for instance, that you really are shy when it comes to approaching women. Let's say that you really do get rejected and you fear rejection. Let's say all that is real. I agree with you. Great. What are you going to do to fix it? What are you going to do to fix it? What are you going to do? Subscribe to this channel. Make sure that if you need help, you reach out, because I'm going to help you alleviate the type of approach anxiety that you have. I'm going to help you alleviate rejection or the fear of rejection and anything else that you're dealing with, to where you're better prepared for the initial step. Because here's the thing. The initial step is just the approach. If you're already afraid and you're shy and you already are messing up the approach, what do you think happens when you actually get into the relationship? What do you think actually happens when you get into the marriage? If you're already afraid at this point and you already are fearing the initial step is you actually approaching the woman. That's the initial step. So if you already fear the initial step, approaching a woman or being rejected, how do you think that's going to carry on into your relationship in the future? It's not going to carry on that well. So that's why I say that. But I've been on here for 43 freaking minutes. It's long. You know, I didn't mind getting on here. I hope if you watch this video on replay that it answered your questions. Maybe it gave you a little bit of insight, a little bit of mindset shift, and it helped you out. But until next time, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. And also, if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. Make sure you go to my website, saulpalmer.com. I have coaching for dating. If you're dating and you really want to prevent any future mistakes, or you want to prevent frustration that men have and go through when they're in a relationship, make sure you go there. And if you're in a relationship and you're just trying to figure out, how do you get that connection back? How do you get that respect? Maybe it's sexual intimacy. Whatever it is in your relationship that has slowed down and caused you to be stuck, make sure you check it out. But until next time, I will talk to you later. This has been a really good live, and you take care.